Some days after Mary visited Peter's home, life continued peacefully on the university campus in Abuja. Peter and Mary continued their studies together, and their friendship became even stronger because the visit had helped them understand each other's lives much better. Mary often thought about Peter's mother and the small home filled with warmth and dignity. Even though the house was simple, Mary felt that the kindness she experienced there was something very special and rare. It made her respect Peter and his mother even more. One evening, Mary returned to her large family home after a long day at school. The house was spacious and beautiful, with tall walls, bright lights, and workers moving quietly around doing their duties. Everything in the house showed the great wealth that her father had built through many years of business. Mary's father was a very powerful and respected businessman in the city. He was known by many people for his success and for the companies he had created. Even though he loved his daughter deeply, he was also very protective of her and always wanted the best for her future. That evening, while Mary sat in the living room reading one of her books, her father came in and sat across from her. He looked at her carefully for a moment, as if he had something important on his mind. In a calm but serious voice, he asked Mary how her studies were going and whether she had been spending time with any new friends at the university. Mary answered honestly because she had always been open with her father. She told him that she had been studying with a friend named Peter, who helped her understand some of their lessons and who worked very hard in his classes. Her father listened quietly and then asked a few more questions about Peter. He wanted to know where Peter came from and what kind of family he had. Mary did not see any reason to hide the truth, so she explained that Peter lived with his mother, who sold fish in the market, and that he studied very seriously because he wanted to build a better future for both of them. For a few seconds, the room became very quiet. Mary noticed that her father's expression had slowly changed. He leaned back in his chair and folded his hands together while thinking deeply about what he had just heard. Finally, he spoke again, but this time his voice carried a more serious tone. He told Mary that while friendship with different people was normal in school, she needed to be careful about the people she allowed to become very close to her life. He reminded her that their family lived in a different world from many others, and that such differences could sometimes create difficulties. Mary listened respectfully to her father, but she also felt a quiet disagreement inside her heart, because she believed that a person's value should not be measured by wealth or status. She gently explained that Peter was a good person who respected others and worked very hard to achieve his goals. Her father did not argue loudly or become angry, but the thoughtful look on his face showed that he was not comfortable with the idea of his daughter becoming close to someone from such a humble background. That conversation ended quietly, but it left a heavy thought in Mary's mind because she knew that her father's opinion could become a serious obstacle in the future. Meanwhile, Peter continued his daily life without knowing that this discussion had taken place inside Mary's home. But very soon, the distance between their two worlds would become clearer, and both of them would have to face a decision that could change their lives forever. After the quiet conversation with her father, Mary began to feel a deep weight in her heart while she continued her studies at the university in Abuja. She respected her father very much because he had always cared for her and worked hard to give her a comfortable life, but at the same time, she could not ignore the growing feelings she had for Peter. For several days, Mary kept thinking about what her father had said. She remembered how serious his voice sounded when he spoke about the difference between their family and people from simpler backgrounds. His words made her realize that the friendship she had built with Peter might not be easy for her family to accept. Even though this thought troubled her, Mary continued meeting Peter on campus because their studies and conversations had become an important part of her daily life. Whenever she spoke with him, she felt calm and understood in a way that was difficult to explain. Peter, however, began to notice that Mary sometimes looked thoughtful and quiet during their conversations. One afternoon, While they were sitting under their usual tree after finishing a long study session, Peter gently asked if something was troubling her. Mary hesitated for a moment because she did not want to bring worry into Peter's life, but she also believed that honesty was important between friends. So she slowly told him about the conversation she had with her father and how he seemed uncomfortable with the idea of her becoming close to someone from a poor family. Peter listened quietly while she spoke. As she explained the situation, he felt a familiar feeling of doubt rising inside him. Deep in his heart, he had always known that their different backgrounds could create problems one day. For a moment, he looked down at the ground and thought about his mother, who worked every day in the fish market, about their small home, and about the simple life he had always known. Then he spoke in a calm voice and told Mary that he understood her father's concerns because parents often worry about their children's future. He said that he never wanted to create problems between her and her family. Mary looked at him with concern because she could hear the sadness hidden in his words. She quickly told him that her father's opinion did not change how she saw him because she respected his hard work, his honesty, and the love he had for his mother. Peter felt grateful for her kindness, but he also knew that life could be complicated when two people came from very different worlds. That afternoon, they both sat quietly for a while as the soft wind moved through the trees around them. Each of them was thinking about the future and wondering what would happen next. At that moment, neither of them realized that this challenge was only the beginning of a much bigger test that would soon appear in their lives. Because before long, Mary's father would decide to learn more about the young man named Peter, who had become important in his daughter's life. And when that moment arrived, Peter would have to prove that a person's true value is not measured by money, but by character, determination, and the strength of the heart. Life continued moving forward in the busy city of Abuja, but inside the large house where Mary lived, her father had not forgotten the conversation they had about Peter. Even though he did not show strong anger, he remained thoughtful and curious about the young man who had become important in his daughter's life. Mary's father was a man who believed strongly in responsibility and planning because those values had helped him build his successful business over many years. He believed that every decision in life should be made carefully, especially when it concerned the future of his family. For several days, he quietly observed his daughter and noticed that she often mentioned Peter when speaking about her studies. He could see that this friendship meant something important to her, and this made him want to understand more about the young man. One evening, while sitting in his office at home, surrounded by documents and books about his business, Mary's father made a decision. Instead of judging Peter without knowing him, he wanted to see the young man for himself and learn what kind of person he truly was. The next day, when Mary returned from the university, her father called her into the living room and spoke to her in a calm but serious voice. He told her that he wanted to meet Peter. Mary was surprised when she heard this, and for a moment she did not know what to say. Part of her felt nervous because she knew her father could be very strict when he wanted to understand something clearly. But another part of her felt hopeful because at least he was willing to meet Peter instead of rejecting him without giving him a chance. Mary carefully explained to her father that Peter was a respectful and hard-working student who cared deeply about his education and about helping his mother. She said that if he met Peter, he would understand that he was not the kind of person who looked for easy advantages in life. Her father listened quietly and nodded slowly. Then he said something that made Mary both nervous and curious. He told her that if Peter truly had good character and strong determination, then meeting him would make that clear. Mary agreed to arrange a meeting, and later that week, she spoke with Peter on campus about her father's request. When Peter heard that Mary's father wanted to meet him, he felt a mixture of emotions inside his heart. Part of him felt nervous because he knew that meeting a powerful businessman who lived in great wealth would not be easy for someone like him who came from such a simple background. But another part of him felt calm because he knew that he had nothing to hide. He had always lived with honesty, worked hard in his studies, and respected everyone around him. After thinking carefully, Peter told Mary that he would meet her father. He said that even though their lives were very different, he was not afraid to speak honestly about who he was and the dreams he carried in his heart. Mary looked at him with admiration because she could see the quiet courage in his words. Soon the day would arrive when Peter would walk into the large house of Mary's father for the first time. And in that meeting, the future of Peter and Mary's growing bond would begin to face its greatest test yet. A few days later, the important day finally arrived in the city of Abuja when Peter was going to meet Mary's father for the very first time. From the moment Peter woke up that morning, he felt both calm and nervous at the same time, because he knew that this meeting could change the direction of his relationship with Mary. Before leaving for the meeting, Peter sat with his mother inside their small home and told her everything about the situation. He explained how Mary's father wanted to meet him and understand the kind of person he was. Peter's mother listened carefully while her son spoke, and then she gave him a gentle smile that carried both wisdom and encouragement. She reminded him that he should never feel small because of their simple life. She told him that honesty, respect, and hard work were things that no amount of money could replace. Her words gave Peter strength and confidence. Later that afternoon, Peter dressed neatly in his best clothes, which were simple but clean, and made his way to Mary's house. As he walked through the large gate of the property, he could see how different this world was from the one he had always known. The house was large and beautiful, with wide gardens and tall walls surrounding it. Workers moved quietly around the property, while everything looked organized and comfortable. Mary was waiting for him near the entrance, and when she saw him arrive, she greeted him warmly. She could see that he was trying to remain calm, and she quietly reassured him that everything would be all right. Soon she led Peter into the living room, where her father was already waiting. Mary's father stood up slowly and looked at Peter carefully as he entered the room. His expression was serious but not unfriendly. Peter greeted him respectfully and thanked him for giving him the opportunity to meet. The two men sat down, and for a few moments the room was quiet as Mary's father studied the young man sitting before him. Then the conversation began. Mary's father asked Peter about his studies, about his goals for the future, and about the life he lived with his mother. Peter answered each question honestly and calmly. He spoke about how his mother had worked very hard to raise him, and how his greatest dream was to finish school and build a life where he could support her and give back to the community. Mary's father listened very carefully to every word. He could see that Peter was not trying to impress him with big promises or empty words. Instead, the young man spoke with quiet confidence and sincere respect. After a long conversation, Mary's father leaned back in his chair and remained silent for a moment as he thought about everything he had heard. Finally, he spoke again in a calm voice. He said that although Peter came from a humble background, he could clearly see that the young man had strong character and determination. However, he also explained that life was not only about good intentions, because building a stable future required great effort, discipline, and patience. Then he made a serious statement that surprised both Peter and Mary. He told Peter that if he truly cared about Mary and about building a future that could stand with dignity, then he must focus completely on finishing his education and building a stable career first. He explained that respect in society often grows from responsibility and achievement. Peter listened carefully and nodded because he understood the meaning behind those words. He promised that he would continue working hard toward his goals and that he would never forget the values his mother had taught him. Mary's father looked at him again and slowly nodded, as if he was beginning to see the young man in a different light. That meeting did not solve every challenge between their two very different worlds, but it opened a door that had once seemed completely closed. And from that day forward, Peter knew that his journey was not only about love, but also about proving that determination and character could build a bridge between two very different lives. After the important meeting at Mary's home in Abuja, Peter walked out of the large house with many thoughts moving quietly through his mind. The evening sky was slowly turning orange as the sun moved down behind the buildings of the city, and the air felt calm and peaceful. Mary walked beside him toward the gate of the house. For a few moments, neither of them spoke, because both of them were thinking about the conversation that had just taken place inside the living room. Finally, Mary looked at Peter and asked softly how he felt about the meeting with her father. Peter took a slow breath before answering, because he wanted to choose his words carefully. He explained that he respected her father's honesty and that he understood why a parent would want to make sure their daughter's future was safe and stable. He told Mary that even though the conversation had been serious, he was grateful that her father had listened to him and given him the chance to speak about his life and his dreams. Mary listened carefully and felt a quiet relief in her heart, because she could see that Peter had handled the situation with maturity and calmness. Peter then said something that made Mary pause for a moment. He told her that her father's words had reminded him of something very important. He explained that if he truly wanted to build a future where he could stand proudly beside her, then he needed to focus even more strongly on his education and on building a stable life. Peter said that love alone was not enough to support a future. He believed that responsibility, patience, and determination were also necessary to create a life that could last. Mary looked at him with deep respect as he spoke, because she could see that he was thinking not only about his own feelings, but also about what was best for both of them. She told Peter that she believed in him and that she admired the way he faced challenges without losing his calm and dignity. Before Peter left that evening, they stood quietly near the gate, while the soft evening light covered the street. In that peaceful moment, they both understood that their journey would not be simple. They would need patience, hard work, and strong hearts to move forward. Peter promised Mary that he would work harder than ever before to build a future where he could support his mother and stand confidently in the world. Mary also promised that she would continue supporting him and believing in the person he was becoming. After that, they said goodbye for the evening, and Peter began the walk back toward his small neighborhood, while Mary returned to the quiet comfort of her large home. Even though their lives were very different, both of them now shared the same hope that one day their two worlds could meet without barriers. And as the days ahead slowly unfolded, Peter's determination would begin to show everyone that true strength is not measured by wealth, but by the courage to keep moving forward. After the meeting with Mary's father, life in Abuja slowly returned to its normal rhythm, but something inside Peter had changed in a powerful way. The conversation with Mary's father had planted a deeper determination in his heart, and from that day forward, he decided that he would work harder than ever before to build the future he dreamed about. Every morning, Peter woke up early and helped his mother prepare before she left for the fish market. Even though he had many books to read and many lessons to study, he never forgot the sacrifices his mother had made for him. He often reminded himself that every page he studied was another step toward giving his mother the peaceful life she deserved. His mother continued waking before sunrise and walking to the market with her basket of fish, but she began to notice something new in her son. Peter studied with even greater focus than before, and he spent long hours reading, learning, and preparing himself for the life he wanted to build. Mary also continued her studies seriously at the university, and even though she and Peter did not spend as much time together as before because of their busy schedules, they always encouraged each other whenever they met on campus. Their conversations were now filled with hope about the future they were both working toward. Months slowly passed, and the final examinations at the university finally arrived. Students across the campus worked with great effort to complete their tests and prove the knowledge they had gained during their years of study. Peter gave his best effort during every examination because he knew that this moment was very important for his future. When the results were finally announced, something wonderful happened. Peter had performed extremely well in his studies and was offered a good opportunity to begin working with a respected company in the city. The news spread quickly among his friends and teachers because many people admired the determination he had shown throughout his time at the university. When Peter returned home and shared the news with his mother, tears of happiness filled her eyes because the years of struggle and hard work were finally beginning to show their reward. Mary also felt great joy when she heard the news. She knew how hard Peter had worked and how deeply he cared about creating a better life for his family. Sometime later, Mary's father also heard about Peter's achievement. When he learned that the young man had successfully completed his education and started building a strong career through hard work and dedication, his opinion slowly began to change. He remembered the honest and respectful way Peter had spoken during their first meeting and realized that the young man had truly kept his promise to work hard and prove his character. One evening, he invited Peter to visit the house again. This time, the atmosphere of the meeting felt different. Mary's father spoke with a calmer and warmer tone as he told Peter that he respected the determination and discipline he had shown. He explained that success built through honest effort was something worthy of admiration. Peter thanked him respectfully and said that he would continue working hard to build a future based on responsibility and kindness. Over time, the distance between their two worlds slowly became smaller as respect and understanding replaced the doubts that once stood between them. Peter continued supporting his mother while building his career, and Mary continued growing in her own path while standing beside someone she believed in. And so the story of Peter and Mary came to a gentle conclusion with a simple but powerful truth.